Hi everyone, I'm Adam here with my wife, Bethany, and we are going to talk to you today about praying the Rosary with your family.
We've been really blessed. We're in this couples group on Sundays. We've been reading Familiaris Consortio, which is an encyclical by JP2. It means Fellowship of the Family. We're reading it in a couples Lenten study, and we all had a baby, our very first baby within the past year, 5 couples, which is crazy. So we're praying and learning about what we want our family prayer life to look like, and specifically the Rosary.
We're going to read a little excerpt of that right now.
We now desire, as a continuation of the thought of our predecessors, to recommend strongly the recitation of the family Rosary. There is no doubt that the Rosary should be considered as one of the best and most efficacious prayers in common that the Christian family is invited to recite.
St. John Paul II even goes on to say that the Rosary is the favored manner of praying. And I think this is so true, and something that we wanted to unpack a little bit more in this video for everyone who watches the Bishop Sheen Rosaries channel, because we know there's a lot of moms and dads out there who probably struggle to get their kids engaged and praying the Rosary with them. So we're going to go through a few different things to think about when you're praying the Rosary as a family up front, but then at the end of the video we'll actually talk about the practical how to pray the Rosary as a family. We got some unique ideas and takes that maybe we'll implement as we pray the Rosary with our growing family as well. So the first thing that we think that parents and families should be thinking about is that how you talk about the Rosary is very important, and like anything, your kids are going to follow your example. So if you say things negatively about the Rosary being a burden or a chore, your kids are also naturally going to take on that idea that the Rosary is not fun and engaging. So really set a good example as parents that the Rosary is something that you find to be very important, a devotion worth doing, and something that is engaging and very important to your family.
So that being said, I do think it's okay to admit to your children, because for me personally, Adam is so impressive with his devotion to the Rosary. He rarely misses a day. I miss a lot of days because the Rosary is a lot more penitential for me. It's a challenging prayer, and saints throughout history have admitted that that's the case. So I think if your children tell you, oh, I don't want to pray, it's hard, you can explain. It's hard for mom too, it's hard for dad too, but it's really important to show Jesus and Mary that we love them this way. This prayer can save the world, and just trying to explain as best as they can rationalize. So the second point kind of is more quality over quantity. So if you have like 3 or 4 kids under the age of 5 and they're running rampant everywhere, and it's all you can do to even get them to stay in the same room, one devout decade is definitely better than nothing. So just doing your best with what you have and not getting hung up on making sure you get every single prayer.
Pray the entire Rosary every time with my kids, and if they're in the room, like that's even a good thing, to just even be in the room while you're praying the Rosary with them.
And something else that Adam and I have started doing, it's kind of funny because we were on a hike with friends and they said, we're going to do the Dominican Open. You'll catch on. We were like, oh, interesting. And the Dominican Open is just Our Father, Hail Mary, and Glory Be. So you don't do all of the creed and the for faith, hope, and charity and da-da-da-da-da. And sometimes just taking away that obstacle at the beginning, for me at least, makes the whole thing a little less intimidating.
Yeah, and you don't want your kids to have a disdain for the Rosary, and the worst thing you could do is just like, you have to do this, and strap them to a chair and make it a punishment, because that is so not what the Rosary should be. And that goes into our third point, that nowadays, more so than ever, the Rosary is important because it is so different from everything else that's going on in our lives. Our kids' attention spans are shorter than ever now, and the Rosary is actually, yes, it is kind of penitential and a challenge to sit in rote prayer for up to 15 minutes at a time. It can be difficult, but it's so important because it might be the only time your kid's not looking at a screen throughout the day, or not like constantly thinking about whatever other activity they have to go do.
So we were throwing around a couple of ideas at our couples group about how to keep kids engaged, and one of them was like more of a kinesthetic Rosary, and our little dude is a mover and a shaker even just at 10 months old, so we know that he's probably going to need some sort of movement incorporated. So I've heard about people like having 10 little balls in one basket, and every Hail Mary, the little kid gets to take the ball and move it to the other one. Or another idea, one of our friends actually was talking about when she was growing up, they did what's called a messy rosary. So the kids were allowed to play with their Play-Doh or color or whatever they wanted to do, as long as they responded at the times they were supposed to and took a break from whatever they were doing when it was their turn to lead.
With kids that are more active, an idea that has been used in Totus Tuus when I was a teacher of that, which is like a catechetical summer program for kids, is acting the rosary mysteries out. This was so fun to do with the kids because you get to be like, you get to be Mary today, you get to be Joseph, or like, you the donkey that Mary's riding into Bethlehem. And you get to see the kids really immerse themselves in the mysteries, which is what the beauty of the rosary is all centered around. So acting it out. And then an additional thing you could do is, if you've got maybe like a TV, you could throw up on screen like a background of the scene, like the nativity, so you can use visuals and you really start to like put your family into the scene. And I think this is really good for kids who like to be visual or kinesthetic.
Another idea is letting your kids choose intentions. Maybe if they're able to handle multiple decades, then you can do for each decade. If they're able to only handle one, then intention for each individual Hail Mary, and maybe it's for Aunt Martha and for my hamster and whatever, because kids love to pray for pets.
Yeah, just let them be very involved in the idea that the rosary is for someone else or for something else, and let them lead the intentions that way. And additionally, another way to change up the rosary from day to day, you can even incorporate different variations on the rosary. Like there's a rosary for America, there's the World Mission Rosary, there's the pro-life rosary, which they have different prayers at the beginning of different mysteries or even different beads, and it makes the rosary, every bead can be different, every prayer can be for a different intention at a different time, which is really cool.
And lastly, I just wanted to share, I've got a dear friend who has 4 brothers and sisters, and they prayed the rosary every day. So I was asking her, what did that look like? How did that actually play out in daily life? And it was so authentic. I just wanted to share her experience. So she talked about how her littlest brother used to try to make everybody laugh for like a year every time they tried to pray the rosary. Or maybe they would have been squabbling right beforehand, and so they'd be praying and like making faces at each other, but by the end they always were reconciled. And her dad always fell asleep on the couch when they prayed the rosary. And it's just like little things like that, but she still to this day prays the rosary every single day because it was a part of her life, and
it was real. And so how you probably imagine you're praying the rosary now, maybe quietly to yourself or at church or like without interruption, that might not be how it looks when you have family life. It probably won't be. So just reimagine what the rosary is going to look like moving forward, especially if you want to be praying it with your kids. And we'll just end on a final note, which, sorry to be a little self-serving, you need to get your kid a rosary they really like.
And this is true for everybody, not just kids, adults. If you have a rosary that you really enjoy, you're more likely to pray it. So when they're really, really little, like our 10-month-old, Choose Life is an awesome company. He loves this thing. He chews on it all the time, and it's really cute because he always looks like he's praying.
But I mean, we also have Bishop Sheen rosaries that have a lot of different rosaries. I like this one. It's my favorite color, orange. You can get your kid one of their favorite color. You could get a kid something.
Favorite color, purple.
Favorite saint, favorite like type of design, and it really makes it their own.
And just a disclaimer with the Bishop Sheen rosaries, probably 5 and up would be good.
That's why we don't get into the cheap teethers. We'll leave that to Choose Life.
So anyway, like, subscribe, hit us up.
And if you have suggestions of what you do in your family that's maybe different than some of these, put us a comment.
Yeah, we would love to see just your ideas and how things actually, all of you people who watch, who have tons of little children running around, being crazy.
We want to hear what you do, yeah. Thanks for watching from us to you through Mary.